Vancouver Island is, of course, home to some of the largest trees in the world, and thousands of people from around the world have traveled here to see them. But BC's towering giants are under...
In this region, about 90% of the valley bottom old growth has been logged. Some of the very last of it exists just next to this clear cut right
People
here.
protesting raw log exports took to the streets in Nanaimo this afternoon.
At the current rate that BC is logging, in 275 years, all old-growth forests will be gone, and in less than 110 years, all forests available for logging will be destroyed.
One method of felling a tree is manually, using handheld equipment.
Mechanical methods include using heavy equipment to fell the trees.
One method of slash disposal is the burning method, which burns undesirable vegetation.
Chemical methods include using herbicides to dispose of undesirable vegetation.
To harvest trees, there are 6 steps, the first being felling or cutting trees down.
The second step is to buck the trees into smaller pieces.
The third step is yarding, or skidding logs to a central location.
Step 4 is to load the logs onto a truck.
The 5th step involves hauling the logs to a mill or sorting area.
The 6th and final step of timber harvest is the slash disposal and rehabilitation of the site. In some cases, logs are brought to a local mill to sort, as seen in step 5, and they are instead exported directly from the logging site to foreign countries for sales. This is called raw logging.
Since the BC Liberals changed the BC Forestry Act in 2003, leaders with the pulp and paper workers say there's been a dramatic increase in exported logs, and with it, BC jobs.
We're looking at 40% of the coastal harvest being exported. And, you know, the truth of the matter is when you take those jobs away, try and get them back.
The Premier of British Columbia, Christy Clark, supports raw logging, which is the practice of shipping raw logs overseas without any processing at local mills.
Of all of Canada, BC provides over 97% of raw log exports. These exports provide the lowest possible income for BC. Jobs are being lost at a rapid rate because of this. For example, in Port Alberni, over 5,000 jobs were lost because of raw log exports.
These are examples of how much money is lost when the raw logs are shipped overseas without processing in BC.
Thousands of jobs across BC are being lost because of the exports of raw logs. This is because over 40% of BC's economy depends on logging.
BC currently earns $1.4 billion in tax revenues from logging alone each year.
Good evening. Trees, mud, and debris came crashing down in Cherryville, the landslide nearly taking out a home. It happened 4 years ago, but it wasn't until today the cause of the slide was made public. And it confirms fears local residents have had all along. Logging in the area played a primary role. Megan Turcato reports.
The stove started shaking and the dog started barking.
It was April of 2012 when a landslide gave Joel Hertzu and his wife a scare.
We were terrified. I was probably still shaking last night at about 3 o'clock.
The torrent sweeping down the Cherryville hillside close to their home.
It sounded like a giant helicopter landing a freight load on top of your house. When I looked up the hill, you could see the trees shaking on the mountainside, like something really big was coming down, just like in Jurassic Park.
Now, more than 4 years later, provincial reports about what caused this destruction have finally been released. They back up what locals have been saying all along. An upslope logging project helped trigger the slide.
I visited the area.
This man and his wife are an example of a stakeholder who was negatively affected by the practice of logging. The poor logging techniques that the company used resulted in a landslide that almost wiped out the couple's house.
There are many environmental impacts associated with logging, such as habitat loss, which is evident in this time-lapse video of a logging site in Vancouver Island.
When large amounts of habitat are lost in one area, this leads to the loss of the biological diversity of the ecosystem. And when many trees are cut down in one area, this leads to the erosion of the soil in that area.
Because of this lack of greenery, forest fires may occur because of the dry soil. Trees are also a major carbon sink, so when they are removed, global warming can easily occur. However, there are many solutions to the problem, including replanting of the forests already lost with a diverse number of tree species.
In BC, over 15% of our forests are under environmental protection. To decrease the amount of logging that can occur, we could always increase the amount of protected areas.
We can also choose to log where endangered species will not be harmed, and take watersheds into consideration before beginning logging projects.